Welcome back to the Sensible Mama podcast. I am Paulina Westcott, your host. Super excited to be with you today. Before we get started with this episode, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and share it with a mama that you think it would help. My guest today is Giovanna. We talked on the phone maybe a week or two ago. It was such a beautiful conversation. I'm so excited to chat with you. I don't know where this conversation is going to go, but I know it's going to be great. Why don't we start? Just tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you? What is your interest in the world of, birth and so forth? And then we'll dive into your birth story.
Yeah, for sure. Well, for starters, thank you so much, Paulina, for having me on here. I'm so excited and grateful to have the opportunity to share my story and just chat with you on here today. My name is Giovanna, as you said, and I am from Puerto Rico. I currently live in New York. And yeah, I mean, I've been kind of like in this realm of like I'm a mama in this mama bear realm and in this lovely space that I find myself in for about I want to say over a year now. I'm a mom of a toddler. He is almost two. I'll just say that instead of like giving you
I
how many.
usually do. I'm like, some people are like, oh, my son is like 342 months old. And I'm like, don't make me do math. My brain is already overloaded.
Exactly. I'm like, I'm not even going to get into how many months he is. He's almost two,
Yeah.
and I'm expecting my second. And yeah, I'm very passionate about birthing, passionate about advocacy in that space, passionate about life in the womb, and very passionate about breastfeeding as well. And so I'd say, like in a nutshell, that's a little bit about me.
Amazing. You're my kind of people. Congratulations on the almost arrived new baby. It's very exciting.
Yes, thank you so much.
And also you're doing training to become a lactation consultant, right?
Yes, I am. I did give it a pause for a couple months with trying to potty train, with expecting the little one that's on the way, and just like a lot going on. But I'm still here and there, like involved in in such things like volunteering and studying here and there. But in terms of going full blown study mode, I haven't really given it my all at the moment. But yes, I am currently in a course and am looking forward to taking that exam potentially next year.
That's awesome. That's amazing. I don't know, like as a mom, you got to give yourself grace. You're doing such amazing work just being mama alone that anything on top of that, as far as I'm concerned, is a bonus to this world. And if you're able to provide more, then good on you and thank you. But also, focusing on raising your baby is such important work and never. I hate when someone's like, oh, I'm just a stay-at-home mom. I'm like, are you kidding me?
I feel you on that 100%. Every time I hear the word just come out of my mouth, I feel like in any sense that has anything to do with children and like raising a family, it's like I'm immediately like, why did I say just? This is 100% not just something that we do. It's a huge deal. And so 100%. Then and thank you for that.
Yeah. And it's interesting that, like, I know we wanted to start with your birth story, but now here we are. It's interesting that that's like a normal thing where people,
Yeah.
I think societally and culturally, at least in America, maybe
Mhm.
other places are different. I mean, I'm pretty sure other places are different, but
Yeah.
in America, it's so normalized to sort of downplay the role of mama, like
Yeah.
as if it isn't the position, the job, the job title that is singly responsible for the future of our culture and our civilization.
Absolutely. I 100% agree. It's insane. I think that it is a very Western cultural thing, because you look at other places around the world that the value and the significance that they have in mothers being present in the home full time and being, the primary caregivers of these children and being like overwhelmingly proud of having that role is something that we don't see here. We often see, women being, like, why are you staying home? Why don't you go back to work? And like this push on daycare. And look, I want to make it very clear. Like, if you're going back to work and you have your child in daycare and that's what you want to do and that's what you so desire in your heart, then cool. Like, that's what you want to do. Awesome. But I think that when it comes to society putting this like stigma on women that stay home as if our job is not more than a full-time job. For sure, I see that so often where it's just it's pushed down as if it's not this big deal, as if it's not as important as going and building this career outside of the home, when what we do inside of the home, and us raising our children, the future of our society, like you said, is one of the greatest jobs, one of the greatest privileges, in my opinion, that I've witnessed.
Absolutely. I think that I don't go an episode without mentioning motherly instincts or your gut feeling or something like that. I'm like very big
Mhm.
on this topic, and maybe I'm a broken record. Sorry, everybody
Yeah.
listening. But but what kills me the most on this is that when you see a new mom who's like crying because she has to go back to work. And I remember I used to work at a software company, and there was this woman that had just had a baby. I don't know, like at that time I was nowhere near maternally inclined. Like I was climbing the corporate ladder. I was doing that whole, whatever, or trying anyway. And I remember there was this woman who was like in the bathroom, there was like this little area next to the bathroom pumping, and she's like holding back tears, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what is happening? She's like, I just want to be home with my baby, and I'm here. And I'm
Mhm.
like even at that time when I didn't have kids and I didn't know anything about being a mom, I wasn't involved in anything in this world at all. I was like, my everything inside me, my cells were like, this is wrong. Something
Yeah.
is so horribly wrong with this picture. Why is this happening,
Yeah, I've seen that a lot. I have a lot of friends that have had to unfortunately go back to work, and acquaintances that I know that have had to go back to work, and it's incredibly difficult for them. And I feel that, and sometimes it's like like depending on where the conversation goes, like I may be inclined to be like, well, have you rethought? Like, are there ways that we can get you to stay home? And sometimes like that conversation is just not something that you can even have with certain families, with certain friends, or with certain mothers. That could be financially, or that could just be because they don't see the world the way we see. They don't view the way like so instinctually they know, they have this feeling, I want to stay home, like there's something that feels off about this, and they feel sad, and they feel nostalgic, and they feel this like depression, kind of like going back to work. But everything around them, this pressure, it might be from the spouse, it might be from work, it might be from family, is telling them to go back to work, and that they have
Mm.
to do this. And I remember having this conversation with a friend. I felt a little bit like, because we're not like that close, so like I consider her a friend, but we're not like super close. And so I remember having this conversation with her, and her telling me like how she really wants to stay home. And I was kind of like, okay, should I say, should I not? Should I, like, how should I get into this? Like, how do I just say, look, if you want to stay home, I know that financially, like for everybody that doesn't work, but I can connect you, or like introduce you to a world where you could figure out how we could cut some expenses, and maybe you can stay home with your baby. It's like it's gonna be a big sacrifice. It's gonna be tough, but you're not alone. There are so many of us out there that make that decision. We do it because we know that that's deep down in our hearts and our souls. Like that's what we want to do. We know it's right. We know it's good for our children. We know it's the best option for our children. Like, not to say again that if your child's in daycare, or doing something else, not that you didn't make the best decision, but we know what's optimal, right? We have optimal choices, and then we have, suboptimal choices. And that's the optimal choice if you could. And so how can we maybe figure out a way that either connect you to some groups, or connect you to some individuals where maybe you can figure out how we can cut down some expenses, and that may work
Or
for you.
figure out a way that you can work from home part-time during their nap. Like
Right.
I had a very, I mean, like literally fitting this exact conversation, my experience with my first baby.
Yeah.
I didn't know what postpartum was going to look like. I didn't know what
Hmm.
motherhood was going to look like. I don't know what I thought it was going to be,
Yeah.
but whatever it was, I was sorely mistaken.
Yeah.
I was working for a wonderful, wonderful marketing company at that time. I was the director of sales and marketing for a great marketing company. I had a great boss. He and I are still very good friends today.
Yeah.
And I was pregnant, and he knew I was pregnant. And then I went on maternity leave, and it was wonderful. We set a date, and I was like, okay, in 2 months, I'll be back. And I think he kind of knew because he has, I mean, he's much older than me and he's got three kids that were also employees at the company. Like he was old enough to be my dad and whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay,
It's like,
cool, you know. And I
okay.
was clueless. I'm like, I'll be back in 2 months. I'm just gonna pick up where I left off. Somebody's gonna just like hold my job while I'm out for a couple months. I
Right.
got on, and I was working from home at that time too, and I got on a Zoom call with him and I was like, hey John. And
Oh,
he's like, you're not coming back to me, are you? And he says it with this massive grin on his face. And I was like, I don't think so. He's like, I didn't think so. And
yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm sorry. He's like, don't be. Go do this thing. Like, this is great. Absolutely. You'll be
Right.
great.
I love that.
Um,
I love that about I love that about him. I love that you had a boss that was like that.
it was an incredible interaction. And I was like, okay. And it was like the most clean quitting slash firing I've ever experienced. Like, we were both like, that was the end. And we both had this complete, like, I would say three-dimensional, but it felt like just like pure understanding of
Mhm.
what my job now is going to be and how the importance of that. And he didn't downplay it. He didn't say, oh, I knew this was going to happen. There was no attitude. It was just deep respect for my decision. And it was so heartwarming. And I wish that for everybody. So
Same.
I don't know how to make that happen.
I know. It- I love that so much. And going back to like being able to work part-time, like I agree 100%. If you can like work something from home while baby naps or like late at night when baby's completely asleep for a few hours, like go for it 100%. Um I have found though, like I have a friend that had a very similar situation where she went on maternity leave, and after like we had, her and I hang out, and we're having breakfast or lunch together, and she's like, "Gio, I don't know how I'm gonna go back to work. Like I'm feeling this extreme pressure. I want to stay with my baby, but like, again, there are some people that you don't really like go too deep into some of these conversations because you don't know how they're gonna react, and like sometimes it feels like you're kind of like stepping on some boundaries, like overstepping some boundaries. And so, you know, my thought process when it comes to that is like, okay, if you're going to go back to work like part time, like cool, and you can do it when the baby is like sleeping, then awesome. But I think my thought process when it comes to going back to work, let's say from home full time and taking care of your baby, like I've seen it in a personal sense where like I'm doing like I also do marketing as well. We have so much in common. I do marketing as I've been doing marketing for a long time and I've been in sales as well. But I get contracted on a part-time basis from a marketing company to do marketing for certain individuals. It's a really cool, it's an awesome opportunity. But I found myself like you have to sacrifice one or the other, right? And like I have found myself having to, and I'm not big on screen time. Like, if I have to put screen time on, it's because like I'm like overwhelmed. Like, you're gonna watch TV for a bit because I need to like do some stuff. But again, if that's what you do, no problem. But I personally don't do too much screen time. Um, and backtrack backtrack, where was I? Oh, so you end up sacrificing, right?
Hmm.
And so like I'm big on like if you're going to be working from home full time, like don't pretend that you're not going to have to pretty much ignore your child because you're going to have to work. And that's going to take up a lot of your focus, a lot of your time. And not just that, it's going to make you super stressed. Now we're going to segue into how that affects your breastfeeding journey
Hmm.
and how that can be a serious challenge. And you might be asking yourself, why am I not producing enough milk? Well, you're not eating well throughout the day. You're not drinking enough water. You're super stressed. Like, there's just so much that goes into it. And so, again, I don't want to be like on this extreme side where it's like, well, you're saying that like we shouldn't go back there, they should cut back on expenses, but that we should also just work part time. Look, I'm just saying that there are going to be some sacrifices in that mix.
Here's my take on this, where I agree with you and I don't at the same time. And here's what I mean, where
Hmm.
sacrifices, yes, in the sense of you need to adjust your expectations, perhaps,
Yeah, yeah.
adjust your viewpoints, your priorities, maybe. You know what I mean? I guess to me, and it depends, I guess, completely on your individual scenario, where to me,
Mm,
it's not a sacrifice. Like, I sacrificed
yeah.
A full-time income, yes.
Right.
So in that
Mm-hmm.
sense, there was a sacrifice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and I had to sort of take myself out of my own mold of thinking. Like, I had always worked a full-time 9 to 5 job. That had always been my thing. And I didn't know anything different. And so I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I like had a call with a friend of mine, and
Yeah.
she's like, well, I have this part-time thing where you can do some recruiting for this company. And it was like a
Mm.
very like set your own hours kind of thing. It was less money than I had been making at the other job, but
Mm-hmm.
it was more per hour. So I could work less. Like it was very flexible. Anyway, my point is like, yes, sacrifice in the sense of the things that you are doing now and the things that you have now
Mm-hmm.
likely have to change.
Right.
Maybe not necessarily, but likely they will. However, if you shift your attitude and you say, "Hey, this isn't a sacrifice, this is actually an opportunity," all of those decisions have led me to this point in my life where I have skills from all of these jobs that I've had. I've got sales skills, I've got
Mm-hmm.
marketing skills, I've got,
Right.
public relations skills, I've got speaking and communication skills from jobs that I've had, management skills from being an office manager, software skills. I'm good with computers. And so like this random jigsaw puzzle of
Mm-hmm.
who knows why I went down this trajectory. And now here I am, and I have a podcast, and I'm a birth doula. What? Like, that's crazy. I have a blog, I wrote a book, and I'm like, I had to sacrifice things. But if I take a look at it now in hindsight, it wasn't a sacrifice. It was an opportunity to bring me to the point in life where I am now. And I know that that sounds kind of like woo woo,
Not at all.
um,
I totally
but
agree. Yeah.
it's so
Mm-hmm.
real to me. And I would like to convey that to a mom that is at that point where I was when I was first trying to make that shift after my firstborn, where I was like, oh, this is so hard.
Yeah.
And it goes against everything I've done since I was literally 16 and working full time 9 to 5. Like,
Right.
I don't know anything else.
Yeah.
And now I'm 30 and I have this
Mm-hmm.
baby, and I don't know how to do this.
Yeah.
But I'm so grateful that I took the plunge and I made the, yes, sacrifices that I did, because they led me to such incredible connections and
Yeah.
incredible opportunities and this sensible mama business that is like such a passion. And my kids know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing. They're asking me, "Oh, are you podcasting tonight?"
No.
Like,
Yeah.
so they're out looking at Christmas lights or something with my husband, and we've made it work, and it's not perfect. I'm not saying my life doesn't have challenges, but I want to say to the new mom who's like, I don't know how the heck I'm going to do this,
Yeah.
such good can come of it if you just expand your view of it and stop
Absolutely.
looking at it as a sacrifice and start treating it like an opportunity to do something great.
Yeah. And not to mention, I mean, all of the on top of what you've already learned, previously in your career and the things that you were doing previously, all of the experience that you gained being a mom, and how you
Oh my
learn to
goodness.
manage and juggle and how you learn to just do things and like get things
Negotiate,
done. Yeah. You just,
multitask.
yeah, you just get it done. And it's like, I don't know how I did this, but I got it done. And, it's like, it's incredible. Like the amount of things that we can do as moms and then taking that on to, applying it and maybe something that you do part time. It 100%. If I were to be someone that was hiring an employer, hiring a mom, let's say on a part time basis, I would 100% look at those qualifications and say, well, you're a mom. I know that you are a go getter. You're someone who gets it done and you're 100% going to be exceptional in this role.
It's really funny that you mention this, because the same boss that I was talking to, I'm going to have to send him this episode because he's like
Yeah.
co-starring with me now. Shout out,
Right.
John. He used to say the same thing when this is before I was a mom, I was pregnant, but we
Mhm.
were hiring for some position, sales, or maybe, I don't remember, some position. And he's like, you're not supposed to have like, bias and prejudice when you're hiring. He's like, but I do sometimes get like very optimistic when I see that one of my applicants is a mom,
Right.
because, and he said the exact same thing that you said. There are skills that I know that she has. She can
Right.
multitask, she can prioritize, she
Mhm.
can negotiate, she has
Right.
patience, she
Right.
can repeat something over and over again to some dumb customers who just doesn't get it. You know what I mean? Like there are skills. And he used to say that to me, and I thought he was being hilarious, but now in retrospect I'm like, yo, he was really onto something.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Super great.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
we can totally segue into my birth story
Let's do it. I want to hear it.
Yeah. Okay. So my birth story is a very long story, but it's something that has 100% one changed me completely, and has put into new perspective now going into my second birth. A lot of things. And so when I got pregnant with my first, um, my second, because I had a miscarriage with my first. And so this is my second pregnancy, and it came with a lot of anxiety because of the miscarriage. And so I want to say throughout the entire pregnancy, I was pretty anxious and worried, and just like until I have my baby in my arms, I don't know that I'm going to be at ease. Um,
If you don't mind me asking,
yeah,
um, because this is such a common thing that I hear. I also had a miscarriage before my first, and I thought I was the only one. I thought something was wrong with me, like all the things
yeah,
that apparently we all think.
yeah.
How late was the miscarriage, if you don't mind sharing?
11 weeks,
Wow. Okay,
almost 12 weeks.
that's really tough.
Yeah. Um, and it was obviously, very painful. Came with, a lot of sadness, and then along with that came the trauma when it comes to your second pregnancy. And so, to you, Paulina, and to all the moms that have been through that, my heart is with you, and I understand you, and like, you know, 100% when I share my socials, anyone can reach out and feel free to want to chat and connect when it comes to that. But yeah, so I got pregnant with my second, and I was excited, but also like worried, like I didn't know what to expect, nothing. So I had this preset, like in my mind, this is exactly how I want my birth to go. Like this is what's gonna happen. Like like just really firm on everything. Like you're not gonna change my mind. Like this is what I want. And I did, however, get prepared with a doula. And it's funny because it is like a laughing matter when we think about how we have these expectations in our mind about how we want our birth to go, and how not listen, it could very well go just the way you want it, but I'm just gonna say for some it doesn't. And so,
Yes.
and I'm one of those where you have these expectations, and I guess one of my biggest advice for expecting moms is to just not lower those expectations. You should not lower them. You should have someone to advocate for you, but you should remember that it's okay if some of them aren't exactly what you had in your mind. Like you can breathe. Like it's okay. Like, God willing, everything will go well, but just have somebody that can advocate for you. So that's why I got prepared with a doula, because I knew that advocacy was really important. And I already had, I guess, preconceived notions of where my mind goes when I think of conventional medicine and some of the things. Like I had already done some studies on that and had been up to date on certain things. I had a thyroid issue, and so there are lots of things that I had been like kind of like up to par with. um, and so going into labor with my second, I realized really quickly that things were not going in the direction that I wanted them to go in.
Mm.
But I was grateful that I had someone to advocate for me, which was my doula. And that the people around me were also prepared to advocate for me, which my husband, my mom, my sister, a few individuals that, we had kind of prepped, like, look, if she needs extra support, like, we want you guys to be in on what's going on.
I
And
love that. I
so,
love
so important. And I will say this, I did really value the OB team, and I did really value their opinions and respected them throughout my pregnancy and when I went into labor. But I'll just say a few things happened that, and I'll get into that, some of those things, but a few things happened that I didn't want that to happen. So I'll get into my expectations. So I wanted an unmedicated birth. Yeah, which is realistic. I'm just laughing because you'll see why I'm laughing in a bit. An unmedicated birth. Um, I wanted a vaginal delivery, a natural. And I wanted no medical interventions. I wanted this to just be natural, to go into labor naturally. I go to my OB at around 39-ish weeks, and she's like, "Oh, your baby is -2. We have to induce you." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
aggressive.
Yeah, like they did the exam, which like I'm also like not really didn't want to do that many like exams down there because it's uncomfortable. But in this case, she's like, we're gonna check you and we're gonna see like how close your baby is. And so if I'm not mistaken, correct me, right? Paulina, -2 is like really low. Yeah. Okay. I didn't know if that was in the other direction, but I'm pretty sure I'm right when she said that. And so she's like, okay, well, we have to plan this induction because like we don't want you to go past 40 weeks and like all this stuff. And brand new here, and I'm just like, okay, well, like, do we have to do this? Like, she's like, yeah, it's better. Like, there's less risk. Like, I guess there's a study that was conducted that a lot of OBs had been like really aggressive with, where like they want to induce before the 40 weeks. For whatever reason, my doula, had informed me about it. She's like, it's this really big study that a lot of OBs have been going by, and they're just pushing inductions before 40 weeks. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm getting an induction. Like,
It's
how's
scary.
yeah, how is this? How are we gonna like? How I didn't know what to expect. I mean, in my head, I'm like preparing for my water to break or for my mucus plug. Like, I don't know. I had all these like I already spoke to my doula about all these things, and so then whatever we scheduled the induction, and it got really crazy, really fast. Paulina, they started with the pitocin, and it got aggressive. Like, I mean, there was nothing natural about the level of pain in these contractions. Like, we understand that natural contractions, they are obviously painful. Like, and again, everyone's pain tolerance is different. So for others it may be worse, and for other moms it may be, a little bit better. But this level of unnatural contractions, it was out of this world, painful, unbearable. Like, I hate to say the word suffering, but I was 100% in rare form. And so,
So if I may interject super quick, I don't think it's an inappropriate use of the word, because the thing that's not explained oftentimes in hospitals, I found, I mean, I had both my babies at home, but I've now attended hospital births as a doula,
mhm,
and they say, okay, Pitocin is simply synthetic oxytocin. And while that is not a lie, that is a
yeah,
true statement,
yeah,
what Pitocin does not do is a particular function of oxytocin when you naturally produce it in a natural physiological labor,
hmm,
where in the pituitary gland there's a certain concoction of hormones that comes along with it, and it actually reduces the sensation of pain, and it increases endorphins, which also reduce the sensation of pain. And
right,
so with pitocin you
hmm,
have only the mechanical contraction um, aspect of the hormone. You don't have any of that other stuff. So you're lacking, I mean, 50% I think is low. You're lacking 75% of what oxytocin does.
right,
And I've watched women with Pitocin contractions, and they're at 3 centimeters. I'm, I, the first time I saw it, I was like, there's no way
mortified.
this is happening.
Yeah, it was. I was having a conversation with my doula the other day because she's the same one for my third pregnancy now, and she was like, "Gio, your body reacted like perfectly to the contractions. Like, this is like you did perfectly. The issue is that this was not natural, and
Right.
so you're like you said. I mean, I was like 1 centimeter with some of the most aggressive contractions that like I don't. It just was so unrealistic. Like, it was so painful. It was so traumatizing that I was
Mhm.
like, "This is. I can't. I don't. I just couldn't even. I was mortified by the situation." But they just wanted to continue to give me pitocin,
Because
and
that's what keeps the thing going. Yeah.
right. And she's like, and my doula came in. She's like, actually, we're not giving her anymore. Like, we're actually done. How about that? Like, we're completely done. There's no more pitocin. Like, her body is doing exactly what it needs to do. Like, if because they were saying that my contractions were slowing down, she was like, yeah, that is exactly what is supposed to happen, but they will kick back up. And so you guys are gonna leave her alone. She's not gonna have any more pitocin, and her body is just gonna have to kick into gear on its own, because right now she is 100% not doing well. And so it was aggressive, I want to say, for about 12 hours. Really, really intense. And at that point, I was like, I had gone in with, I did not want the epidural. I really didn't, I was not, like, I was like, okay, it's fine. They're going to give me medication. I know that's going to be painful. They're going to give me the Pitocin, but I still don't want an epidural. And so I lasted about 12 hours like that. And I finally just got to the point where I was going to pass out. And I was like, the guy that's coming in here to give this epidural, if he does not hurt, like, how fast can he get here? Like, and everyone was looking at me like, Gio, are you sure? Like, look, we're here to advocate for you. Are you sure? You made the decision. You did not want the epidural. Like, are you sure? And I was like, how about you don't talk to me? Don't even look at me. Like, don't ask me that question one more time. Like, call that guy, call whoever has to give me that epidural. Like, call him right now. I was just at a point where I couldn't handle it. I just could not. And so there goes that. The desire to not have any medication, to have my birth go naturally, to not have the epidural, like, that was all out the window. And I was already like, just upset over that. Like, even in the midst of all that pain, Paulina, I was still like thinking, like, should I get the epidural? Should I not? Should I get the epidural? Should I not? The contractions were just so intense that I felt like I wasn't going to get through this. I was only at that point like 3 centimeters. And so my worst, like, where my mind was going was like, I cannot get a C-section. Like, that was where I'm like, we have to do this vaginally. Like, if the epidural will help me loosen up and will open me up quickly or faster, like, that's where we're going to go. But like, I just did not want to go down the route of a C-section. If you had to do that as a mom, like, look, you're still an amazing mom. You're like, you still like I'm sure your birth story is unique to you. This just personally, I didn't want to do that. And so pretty much, I want to say about 12 hours later, Ronan arrived, my second. And so that's how that went. Um, they did give me some other medication, the laughing one. I don't know.
Nitrous.
Yeah, they gave me that
Yeah.
one. Just to kind of like,
Some people say, I've seen that just do absolutely nothing for people, and some people say it does have an effect. I don't know.
yeah. For me, I don't know. It was still really painful, but I think it was like just like got me like out of it for a bit.
Sure.
But that's about it for medications. Ronan arrived. My baby boy, that's his name. And after that, you know, I think that like being pregnant with my third, I 100% have birth trauma. And, as much as I know you and I had that conversation where it's like, as much as I want to like push it aside and be like, no, like, it's fine. Like, I'm fine. It's going to be fine. Like, yeah, I went through that, but it's like, whatever, it's like, it's not, it's still in the back of my head. And it's the things that I worry about, I'm not accepting an induction this time around. And I had a conversation with my doula because my baby girl, now that I'm having in February, is a little smaller than my second. And, you know, my OB is great, but, the fact that she just had to mention induction to me was like, why did you even say that word?
I think I want to do a survey. Maybe I'll do this on my Instagram or my Facebook page or something. I want to know. Actually, if you're watching this, leave a comment.
Yeah.
I want to know, unless and if you had a home birth or a midwife, this doesn't count for you. I want to know if you had an OB.
Mm-hmm.
Did anybody watching this have a pregnancy where an OB did not say the word induction at some point? Because I'm pretty sure that's just not a thing.
Right. She really didn't mean it like it was, and to her, I know she didn't mean it like to be like intimidating or like just like, because she had asked me what are your expectations, and for me I was like automatically no induction. So I know she didn't say that, like, but like when my doula and I were speaking, we're like, look, sometimes OBs, they don't connect, like they don't have this connection to like, they're doing the medical stuff. Like they're not connecting with your story. They're not asking you what happened. They're not asking you how you feel about your last birth. Like none of that. It's just like straight to the point. Like, this is what we're doing. Like, I'm in the medical field and like we're just going to go straight to it. So I know she didn't say it with that intention, but she was like, if your baby gets like a little smaller, like like 10% in the 10th percentile, then you're going to have to get an induction. And I was like, why'd she have to say that word? She's not in the 10th percentile. She's a lot bigger than that, but she's a little smaller. And so automatically now I'm like worried, like what's going to happen? And so, this time around I do have different expectations. Also a little bit more relaxed on those expectations. Like, as long as my baby arrives healthy, that's what I want. That's what's most important to
Mhm.
me. But I do have different expectations, different sense of how those expectations may go, but also a lot more firm on certain things. Like I'm no matter what, like unless my baby's health is critical, and my health is critical, then we'll talk about induction. But other than that, we're not talking about that. Like I'm not getting an induction. I'm gonna do this. I don't even know what it's like to do this naturally. I don't know what it feels like for my water to break naturally, for my mucus plug to come down naturally. I don't know any of that. So literally having these conversations with my doula nowadays, it's like brand new. Like, what am I supposed to expect now?
I'm so excited for you.
Yeah,
I am
me too.
so excited for you. Like, I got chills when you said like this is brand new and I don't know what to expect. I I had this moment. I'm trying to remember which episode of the podcast it was on. I think I was talking to another doula out in California,
Yeah,
and I was like, okay, there is a time and a place for medical intervention. There's a time and a place for C-sections. And like you said, if you had a C-section, you are no lesser. It's not,
exactly.
it's great. Like, if that was what was needed to get your baby healthy and safely into the world, yes. But if and when anybody has an opportunity to experience a physiological birth,
Hmm.
I'm a little bit of an addict now. Like,
Hmm.
after my first, I was like, that was the ride of my life. It was not easy. I will not ever, under any circumstances, tell you that it was a walk in the park because neither of them were. One was 23 hours, one was 7 hours. They were difficult in their own ways. There were challenges to overcome,
Wow.
mental, physical challenges, the whole thing. But the end of it,
Yeah.
like
I
the
feel
things
you.
that I discovered about myself, the things that I learned, the limits that I thought I had that were just self-imposed considerations that weren't real, like I never would have learned those things. And it's okay, like some people don't get to experience that, and it's for the greater good that they don't, because it brought their baby into the world safely, you know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
But I offer it as, if you have the opportunity to have this experience with a supportive team and
Hmm.
a positive, supportive environment, it's so powerful and it's
Yeah,
so incredible. And I wish that for all the mamas out there that can possibly have it.
same. And it's like I was saying earlier, like we have optimal choices. There
Yes.
are there are better like I guess maybe better isn't the word, but optimal. Like we have an optimal
What's
choice
your
and we have
ideal scenario,
exactly we
right?
have the ideal
Yeah.
scenarios. And it's like sometimes that offends people like, oh well, that and typically this when I talk about that it's when it's related to breastfeeding.
Yes.
Like we have optimal and then we have the milk that they sell at the stores. Formula. So
So those are still workable. The thing, I think that the trouble is that you say optimal, and then people think that you're implying that anything else is bad,
exactly.
which is not true. Bad is not feeding your baby. That's
Right.
bad. Don't do that.
Right.
Okay? Like
Feed your
bad
baby.
is, yeah, like bad is feeding your newborn Lay's potato chips. That's bad. Don't do that. Do you know what I mean? Like there is a level of bad,
Right.
like, but there is, you can call, like, it's a scale where at the top
Exactly.
you have the most optimal, ideal. What
Exactly.
is the ideal? At the
Hmm.
bottom you have, I'm not feeding my baby anything at all, right?
Exactly.
And there's a million different options in between, a bajillion, I don't know, endless different scenarios,
Right.
and those are not bad.
Exactly.
Like, my optimal thing is that I have $1 billion.
Right.
Than that. I'm not suffering, I'm not struggling, I'm not going to die because of it, but is it optimal? No. There's room to improve, you know.
Exactly. Right. That's it. That's when when I think about that in that sense, 100%, I agree that there you do have the ideal option, and then you have some other options that they're not bad, but we're just talking about what would be the most ideal. Um, so I would say, yeah, like that sums up my birth story. And I am very excited for my third, and I'm looking forward to this hopefully being as natural as possible, and putting everything in God's hands, and just trying to relax and not get anxiety over the things that I cannot control, but that I can advocate for myself, and that I have others that will advocate for me, and that I'm going to do my best to make this go the way that I ultimately desire. And so we shall see. I will keep you updated. Polly.
Please do. Please do. And then once you're recovered postpartum and back on your lactation, when you do have your lactation business up and running, we'll
Yeah,
have you back on. We'll do a whole episode on something or other lactation related and get you some clients and so
yeah,
forth. But
I love that.
I do want to talk about breastfeeding a little bit because I would like to know from you
Hmm.
why breastfeeding? What about breastfeeding interests you so much that you are leaning in that direction, like career wise?
Yeah, it's incredible. I really never thought, like, in, I don't know, never in my 20s working for a corporate company, doing marketing, doing sales, like doing all this stuff, would I have thought like I'm gonna become an IBCLC? Like, never. Like, I just, when I had my baby, well, prior to having him, and like, it had already been some time that my heart and, like, instinctually, I knew like it was time for me to have a baby. And the second that that started to, like, kick in, like, get into gear, I knew that I had to start, like, my brain started to just rewire. And, like, I wanted to learn different things. I wanted to learn more about birthing. I wanted to learn more about breastfeeding. Like, I wanted to do everything possible to give myself and my children the most optimal life. Like, as best as I could, do everything that I could to make, like, research, and, like, is this correct? Is this, because we hear so much stuff on social media. We hear the world telling us, yapping in our ear about this. We hear family telling us this on this side. We hear so much, and it's like, well, I'm a free thinker. Let me just think for myself. Let me do my own research. Let me read this, read that, read opposing views, read views that I agree with, and just bring it all together and make that decision on my own as a free thinker, someone that has complete reign over her thoughts, and, like, the things that she wants to do. Like, I have free reign over that. Like, I want to do that for myself. And so I really just took some time to just study before having children, and then when I got pregnant, of course, have with my children, to just study things. And breastfeeding was one of those non-negotiables, like, from the beginning. Like, I'm going to breastfeed my children. Like, I have read so much on this. Like, i have I have time to do that. I want to do that. I desire to do that for so many reasons. And that was the goal. But that's another expectation, that I think that if more moms had support, from pre-birth, and then when they gave birth at the hospital, if they have more and more of that support, and then postpartum wise, I think it would be a lot easier for some moms.
Yeah, yeah.
um, but that's also an expectation that I had. And I know that that's an expectation, that if there were going to be there was going to be an intervention such as a C-section, I knew that that might have caused some sort of barrier in that. Not that you can't breastfeed if you have a C-section, but I knew that that was going to create some sort of, not the immediate, skin to skin with my child that I would have desired. And so, praise God, I didn't have to go through that. So immediately when my son was born, he latched. And I had been learning about it previously, and I know that some children come with certain things, like tongue ties and things like that, but he latched on, like, quickly, and it was just from there, Paulina, it just I really don't, it's tough going towards my IBCLC with my personal experience that I 100% have to remove when I decide to get clients, because my personal experience when it came to breastfeeding was one of the most marvelous experiences ever, and I know that's not that way for everyone. And so I just want to say that, like, I know it's not easy for everyone. In my case, not that it was, like, smooth sailing at all times, but it was easy in the sense that, like, everything just clicked. Like my body clicked, my body started producing milk, my son latched quickly, like he was just going for the milk immediately, like he started gaining weight immediately, like everything was just like literally like a puzzle just falling into place. And so that's where that passion came out of. And I saw the benefits. I saw the benefits for me as someone who so
Mm.
desperately needed like this connection that I never thought I would have needed. Like I loved it. And then seeing my baby grow, seeing my baby flourish, like his health, his weight gain, like everything, and like learning about breastfeeding and how much like value not just in the moment that provides to your child but for years to come. I mean, like
Mhm.
there's so much benefit to it. I knew that this was something that I like immediately grew like this, like we had spoken about, this obsession. I was like, I want to help more moms. Like you can do this, like, and I know that my situation is different, but like let's talk about how we can help you. Like, I just wanted to help other moms do this. I continuously heard like the struggles from, moms that I knew that were having babies around the same time, or like family from the past that just couldn't do it, wanted to do it. My own mother wanting to do it, couldn't do it. Just not having the support in place, I think, was one of the biggest things for a lot of mothers that I know. And so for me, I had that support. I had a doula, but not just that, I was also mentally like prepared. Like, this is what I wanted. I made that decision that I wanted to breastfeed, and there was nothing that was going to stop me from that. And I was not going to, like, the doctor was like, a few days after I gave birth, oh, he's not at the weight that he should be. I'm like, he will be. Like, relax. Like, we're going to have to start him on formula, bring him back in a week. If he's not a little bit heavier, you're going to have to start him on formula. I was like, actually, I'm not. Thank you, though. I appreciate it, but that's not happening. Like I was just I made that decision, and that decision was final.
Mm.
And so I guess yeah, that's where really it like stemmed from. I became super passionate about it. I breastfed for about, he was a little over a year. I want to say maybe 13, 14 months. And then I got pregnant. And so it had to stop just because I got really bad morning sickness and I just couldn't. uh,
You and I are the same person. This is crazy. That's like
yeah,
literally my story too.
yeah. So that's really like how it came about. And since then, it's just been this passion. Like truly, I just want to help you. Like I know you're not going to have the same situation that I have. I know that everyone's different, but I've been volunteering for this nonprofit called Vital Village in Massachusetts, and they don't actually just help women out of Massachusetts. They help all over the states. But we get to go on these Zooms, and there's a worm line as well for breastfeeding, and we hear these stories all the time, and they're just all so different. And, I'm not going to lie, sometimes it can be intimidating because I'm like, I don't know what to say. I have no idea what to say. And sometimes I'm like, I know exactly what to say.
Mm.
Um, but I think that it's for sure been it's been a learning process for me. And I'm eager. I'm eager to learn more. Every time I go on the course, I learn something new. And every time I hear some of these mother stories, I learn something new, and it's fascinating to me. So I just want to keep doing it. I just want to help more moms. Just if I could just help you, just in some way, somehow, like that's what I want to do.
Your passion is so tangible, and that alone tells me
Yeah.
you're going to do such amazing work.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I
It's
hope
so
so.
amazing. So, with this podcast, I get to talk to the most incredible women, some guys too, mostly, my husband a couple times, but mostly women. And it's funny because it can go either way, where my last guest actually had a crazy traumatic birth experience.
Uh-huh.
And that experience, like I'm talking crazy traumatic birth experience, like unthinkable.
Hmm.
Um, that experience led her to become a birth doula,
Yeah.
which is so beautiful. Like that's so cool that you can take something so difficult and so challenging and negative and turn it into something that is purely of service to others,
Right.
and she healed through that. Like that's
Right.
amazing.
I love
And
you.
then there's other people like you like me, where I had a beautiful home birth experience, and that experience is what lit the fire in me to do this kind of work where
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I want other people to experience what I did. And I know not everybody will. And as a doula, my clients don't have my birth because that was my birth and this is theirs, and everybody's is different, and circumstances and conditions and everything is different. There's a
Mm-hmm.
million different factors that are involved. But that passion
Right.
stems from somewhere deep within. And I love that we can take something that is,
Mm-hmm.
I won't call it ideal because I'm sure you had challenges. I
Yeah.
know I had challenges. My births were beautiful, but they were not without some difficulty that I had to overcome. Same for my breastfeeding journey. Like you were talking, my story is very similar. My son, my first,
Mm-hmm.
he latched right away.
Right.
The first month was really painful. I didn't know it was an option to have non-painful breastfeeding. I thought that's just how it went because
Yeah.
I only knew one other person that had breastfed that I had talked to about it in any sort of like meaningful way.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, the first few months are really painful. So I just thought that was normal. And when my midwife was like, how's breastfeeding going? I was like, great, I
Yeah.
think. Like, good.
Uh-huh.
Um, but we figured all that out, and it's incredible that like
Mm-hmm.
I love what you said that,
Mm-hmm.
you don't know what to say to everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody's birth is going to be different. Everybody's breastfeeding journey is going to be different. Everybody's postpartum is going to be different. Every mom is going to mother differently.
Right.
But that's part of the beauty of it all.
Mm-hmm.
Like we can take each other's experiences and we can use each other's knowledge, and with this network of people who care and people who have passion on this subject and people who really are interested and dive in and
Mm-hmm.
dig deep, like we can lift each other up and help each other have the best possible experience through the entirety of the birth and motherhood process. And
Yeah.
honestly, that just
Mm-hmm.
kind of sums up what this whole podcast is about. And
Yeah.
so,
I love that. Amen to that for sure. And I just wanted to go back to what you said about how you didn't know many people that had breastfed. And, I feel like we hear that so often. And when I have these conversations with, anyone within, the IBCLC community, or like anyone that's supporting women that are looking to breastfeed or are currently breastfeeding or having any type of challenges, we hear that a lot. We hear like, I don't have much support. I don't know anybody that is breastfeeding. And you look at the way that I guess society right now is is making things, or like I guess the formula industry and how much money they have to put behind this type of promotion, and kind of like push aside breastfeeding. Like you wonder why you don't have that much support. You wonder why you don't know that many people that haven't breastfed, because they were served the I guess I don't want to say like the easier option, but they were served this like they were just kind of like fed this like, this is what's going to be best, like this is what's going to be easier, this is going to be healthy for your child, don't worry, we've made this like formula exceptional. And they've just really like overpowered this like what's natural, like this is what our bodies are built to do, this is what our bodies are made to do for our children, like this is what our children are supposed to do. And then you also have the back to work culture, which pressures you. And there are just so many things that go into play. Like there's the way that what's your nutrition like? Like are you eating? Like if you're going back to work, like how are you staying on top of your eating well? Like are you drinking enough water? How is your stress? Like I talk about this all the time with some of my friends and the people that I know. Like you have to tone things down. If this is what you really want to do, girl, you need to eat. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, you need to eat. Like, if you don't have somebody that can help you prepare some meals, like maybe we can figure out a meal plan company that can help you. But like, you have to eat. You have to drink your water, and you have to rest, and you have to like let go of all this stress. And so going back to work culture where like, you're pumping. Sometimes you don't even have a place to pump. It might be in the bathroom, which is inappropriate in so many ways. Um, but like there's so much to it in terms of like support and not knowing enough people and not having enough people that are willing to like really push you and help you. And I don't mean push you like in a pushy way, like force you to do this. But if you genuinely want to breastfeed and it's something that your heart so desires, like you can find support. Like there are so many people that are going to be willing to help you. Like there are so many communities, like whether that's on Facebook, that could be a private community. That could be, that could be a book. That could be like so many different ways that you can find the support. And like, I guess like in now that I'm in this space, like I really, really want moms to know like you're not alone in this aspect. Like again, if your heart so desires to breastfeed and you know that's right, and you know that that's what you want to do for your child, don't give up. It's hard. I know it's challenging. I know they're gonna be you're gonna be filled some nights with so many tears and worry. Like, is my child okay? Is my child eating? Like, no mother wants to feel like that. But seek support. You will, God willing, you will find it. And there are so many beautiful people within that community. Just like I found within the doula community, just like I found within the breastfeeding community, like so many beautiful individuals that truly want to help you, truly want to get you the information that you need, and will just like follow up with you day by day to see how your breastfeeding journey is going. And God willing, you will get there. And, I never want to promise people that it's going to happen, but, you know, God willing, it will work out. And, it's just, I just want moms to know not to give up. You got this.
This. I think that's a beautiful place to end the conversation. I feel like we could chat for hours on end, but we're
Yeah,
actually at an hour, which is
I know.
unbelievable.
I know.
Thank you so much. This was a warm and uplifting and very hopeful sort of conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I am so excited for you to have your perfect or imperfect birth, however it goes. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be incredible. You're going to have an incredible birth story and a beautiful little baby, and that's wonderful.
Amen.
And I know you're going to be amazing. In the lactation world, your passion is unparalleled. Your positivity is infectious, and I think that that's going to serve you really well and serve your clients even better.
Thank you, Paulina. Thank you so much for those words, and truly, like, same to you. I'm so grateful and happy that I got the opportunity to meet you. I know that you serve your clients probably so well. Undoubtedly, they are probably so grateful for you being their doula, and 100% looking forward to continue our connection, and that we can continue to chat. So thank you so much for this opportunity.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure. Where can people find you?
So you can find me on Instagram. My social media handle is Giovanna Clash. That's GIOVANNACLASH. Feel free to message me, follow me, connect with me. I'll be more than happy to chat with you.
Love that. This has been so wonderful. Thank you all for joining us for this episode, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.
Bye.